Hello, everybody. I was going to do a video about my thoughts on the official announcement of the Revolver box set. But considering I did a video based on the leaked announcement, I figured it would be kind of redundant if I did another video essentially repeating everything that I did in the previous video. So if you want to know my thoughts on stuff, go watch that video. And I love the new mix of Taxman. But I wanted to talk about another Beatles album. And I wouldn't call this a review, but like I did for Please Please Me, talk about an album, talk about my personal connection with it. And for me, one of their top 5 albums, what I consider the first masterpiece. You're not going to find this on any Rolling Stone or Q magazine or whatever 100 best albums list. It should be. But when everybody talks about Beatle albums, everybody says Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper, The White Album, Abbey Road. I mean, those are the 5 that are always mentioned on a top 100 albums list of all time. Those 5. When somebody asked me some years ago, if you could take one Beatles album on a desert island with you, which one would it be? Without missing a beat, I said, the UK, A Hard Day's Night. Since we're talking official Beatles releases, it's the UK releases that are considered the valid ones now, or the official catalog. And ages ago, when my buddy was doing YouTube videos, he did a review of the 2009 remasters, and he did one on A Hard Day's Night. And as soon as I saw that video, I was like, we have a connection, another kindred spirit, because I've always called that the first real masterpiece. You have a powerful debut album, you have a pretty solid second album, but I think with the UK A Hard Day's Night, they reached a level of songwriting and performance that is unmatched on the first 2 albums. And not only that, John and Paul, they just excelled at being songwriters. They didn't repeat the same song over and over and over again. And considering the pressure these guys were under, 2 songs a year, and this was to coincide with their first movie as well. So they had 7 songs that were in the movie, and on side 2, 6 additional songs. It was, I mean, you talk about giving value for your money. We have 7 songs from the movie, but we have other songs that we think are just as good that you're going to enjoy as well. So let's go and release it in a whole package. Side 1, songs from the movie. Side 2, some other great songs that we recorded at the same time. 13 killer tracks. As the old saying goes, all killer, no filler. Yes, it doesn't have like studio experimentation of Revolver or Sgt. Pepper. It doesn't have sort of a conceptual feel to it the way Sgt. Pepper does. Abbey Road with the medley on side 2, and even the White Album with the way that is sequenced, with being a gapless album. It doesn't have maybe the lyrical sophistication of Rubber Soul, but you got 13 great tracks, and they just, it lifts your spirits. That's what I like about it. It lifts your spirits. Now, when it comes to mono versus stereo, this right here is my go-to, the 2009 stereo remaster. Now, I know the mono recordings are the way they're supposed to go, but this is a pretty good stereo release for its time. And I do have the stereo reissue of it on vinyl, but considering it's digital, I stick with my 2009 CD. And it's got a live room feel in that stereo recording. There's enough leakage where Ringo's drums they leak over onto the other stereo channel. You have a mixture of instrumentation on your side channels and vocals in the middle. But it's a good stereo mix. Every time I put the headphones on, I feel like I am at Abbey Road with the Beatles, or at EMI Paris, I think that's where it was, where they did Can't Buy Me Love. But I picture myself in the studio with them. These songs just have an energy to them. And my friend, in his video, he pointed this out. You know, they just came back from America, and they did what pretty much no British act ever did. You know, every British act tried to make it in America, and it just didn't happen. The Beatles essentially conquered America. We know the whole story. Everything came after the Beatles. That's when Dave Clark 5 became stars. That's when Herman's Hermits, and of course the Rolling Stones, and the Who and the Kinks and everybody else. But the Beatles were the ones who really created this big phenomenon. And the way he describes it, they came back to England and they were like, who's better than us? They didn't reinvent the music industry. They reinvented the entertainment industry. They showed everybody, this is how it's done. This is how it's done. And so you could say there was probably a certain arrogance of like, who's better than us, that they came up with these 13 killer tracks. And they had to have 7 to go in the movie. I remember Walter Shenson, in a documentary on the making of A Hard Day's Night, told John and Paul, we need 7 new songs. Well, what kind of songs? He's like, Beatles songs, 7 new Beatles songs. Just do what you do. And what did they come up with? A Hard Day's Night, I Should Have Known Better, And I Love Her, Tell Me Why, Can't Buy Me Love, Happy Just to Dance With You. I mean, so many great songs, and I know I'm missing one right now. Let me get the album out here. If I Fell. I mean, and A Hard Day's Night, they wrote on demand. The title of the movie is called A Hard Day's Night. Come up with a song for that. The next morning, they play it for Walter Shenson. It's like, oh my God. And he was amazed, a hit song on demand. And then you got the 6 songs on side 2. Anytime at All. I'll Cry Instead, which everybody said was supposed to be in the movie. Things We Said Today. When I Get Home. You Can't Do That. And I'll Be Back. And everybody talks about, everybody says, oh, the Beatles, how they went from I Want to Hold Your Hand to Sgt. Pepper. That's a big step. Well, I want to know how they went from I Want to Hold Your Hand to Things We Said Today. I want to know how they went from Please Please Me to I'll Be Back. And maybe the weak track, and it's not that weak. Everybody complains about the bridge section. When I Get Home, John's line of I'm going to love her till the cows come home. I mean, one minor criticism, very minor. You can't help by just pump your fist in the air when that intro comes on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You love it. Now in America, we didn't get the UK album. I don't have it on vinyl. But in America, we got the original motion picture soundtrack to A Hard Day's Night, featuring the 7 songs from the movie, also with I'll Cry Instead, and instrumental music from George Martin. Some of it, I think, was supposed to be in the movie. A lot of it was not in the movie. Part of the deal with United Artists financing a movie about the Beatles was, are we going to get a soundtrack album out of it? Because they had a record label. Yeah, you'll get a soundtrack out of them. Great. And then Capitol, like probably around the same time, I don't know, they released this slapdash effort, Something New with the Beatles. You get most of the songs from the UK A Hard Day's Night album, Things We Said Today, Anytime at All, When I Get Home, and 2 cover songs which were on the UK Long Tall Sally EP, Slow Down and Matchbox, and I Want to Hold Your Hand in German, Come Gimme Deine Hand. along with I'll Cry Instead, which was supposed to be in the movie but not, Tell Me Why, and I Love Her, I'm Happy Just to Dance With You, and If I Fell. So kind of double dipping there on the music. But what incredible music it is. The UK album, which is a complete album, again, it wasn't thought of in terms of an album being a separate entity unto itself, but it is an album. It's got a flow to it. It's got a feel to it. And if I'm on a desert island and I have no way of getting home and I'm stuck here for however long and I'm trying to survive, you'd think I want to hear Within You Without You? You think I want to be reminded of what's actually happening to me right then and there? No, I'm going to want to dance on the sand to I'm Happy Just to Dance With You. I'm going to want to be sprinting all over the island to Can't Buy Me Love. So that's why, to me, A Hard Day's Night is one of my top 5. The UK A Hard Day's Night is one of my top 5 Beatle albums of all time. The songwriting is just a notch up from where they started. It's a big step. And when you think about it again, don't think about they went from I Want to Hold Your Hand to Sgt. Pepper. No, they went from I Want to Hold Your Hand to Things We Said Today. They went from I Want to Hold Your Hand to And I Love Her. Those are big steps right there. And I'm going to do a video one day where I actually talk about it, when I could be more articulate. So that's my take on this. The UK A Hard Day's Night album, I love the stereo mix. I don't think this needs a new Giles Martin mix at any point. Just keep it as it is, unless he can improve on it. And I'll talk to you soon.